Hello friends, let us start with a new topic, equivalent circuits. In this topic, we will understand how to deal with series circuits, parallel circuits, as well as we will understand current division rule and voltage division rule also, along with star and delta transformations. So let us begin with this. To start with equivalent circuits, we will start with series circuits first. In series circuits, all the elements which I have shown over here, which is Z1, Z2, Z3, let's say all of them are connected in series, and thereafter to complete the circuit and to energize the circuit, let us assume we have applied one voltage source plus minus V, through which it is supplying current, let's say I. Because of this, there would be voltage drop across every element of Z, which is, let's say, plus minus V1, plus minus V2, and plus minus V3. Now by applying KCL, we can write an equation that total voltage supplied V will be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. We know by Ohm's law, we can write V is equal to I times Z. So this is, since it is a total voltage V, it will be total current I multiplied by, I would say, Z equivalent, which will be equal to V1 is voltage across Z1. So I can define V1 as current through Z1 multiplied by Z1 only. So I can represent V1 as I times Z1. Similarly, I can write V2 as I times Z2, and of course V3 as I times Z3. As we can see, on left hand side as well as on right hand side, there is a common factor I, which I can cancel out from both ways. So what is the equation now remaining is Z equivalent, which is Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. The unit is ohms. So what I can conclude is, whenever impedance is connected in series, the effective impedance is always an algebraic addition of all. So let's say if we would have one more element, let's say Z4, then Z equivalent could be Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 plus Z4 and so on. So with this, we can go further and start exploring series circuits. See, in series circuit, element can be resistor, inductor or capacitor or combination of all. Let us understand how to deal with resistors, inductors and capacitors. Before we start with that, please understand, whenever there is resistor R, the equivalent Z is R itself. The unit is, of course, ohms. Whenever there is L, the equivalent impedance is written as J omega L. Whereas if you have capacitor, then equivalent Z is 1 upon J omega C. So what we can conclude is, whenever we have L, we say that Z is directly proportional to L, assuming the operating frequency omega is constant, whereas in case of capacitor, Z is inversely proportional to capacitor. Now this is going to help us while calculating equivalent circuits. We'll see how. For example, in the series circuits, let's say you have two elements and both the elements are, let's say, resistors, that is R1 and R2. Then we know that equivalent Z will be Z of R1 plus Z of R2, and we know very well Z for R1 will be R1 itself and Z for R2 will be R2 itself. So in that case, Z equivalent is simply Z1 plus Z2. In case of, let's say, inductors, we have L1 and L2 element connected in series. So Z equivalent would be equal to ZL1 plus ZL2. In fact, I can represent that Z is directly proportional to L, so I can write L equivalent equal to L1 plus L2. Whereas in case of capacitor, you have to be quite careful. Let's say there are two capacitors connected in series, that is C1 and C2, then as we can see, Z is inversely proportional to capacitor, so I would say 1 upon C equivalent will be equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. In fact, I can write C equivalent as then C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. So please understand, when it comes to resistors, it is simply R1 plus R2. Whenever it comes to inductor, L equivalent is L1 plus L2. But when it comes to capacitor, it is 1 upon C equivalent, which will be equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. So this is how we deal with series circuits. In series circuit, we apply voltage division rule. So let us try to understand what is meant by voltage division rule. Suppose we have a supply voltage Vs and some impedances connected in series, let's say Z1, Z2 and Z3. Let us assume the supplied current is I, because of which there is a voltage drop V1 across Z1, voltage drop V2 across Z2 and voltage drop V3 across Z3. So we know the fact that the total supply voltage Vs will be algebraic summation of V1 plus V2 plus V3. So really what voltage division rule does is, voltage division rule will help you to get these divided voltages, that is V1, V2 and V3 by having voltage division rule. So according to voltage division rule, voltage across any impedance will be equal to source voltage multiplied by the impedance across which you have to calculate the voltage. So I would say that impedance Z divided by summation of all impedances. So what we can do is, now I can, let's say, calculate V1. So V1 is voltage across Z1. So according to the formula, V1 will be source voltage Vs. We know that V1 is across Z1, so I will say Z1 in the numerator divided by summation of all, which is Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. In case of V2, I can say that supply voltage Vs, V2 is across Z2, so in the numerator Z2 shall come upon Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. So this is how we apply voltage division rule whenever impedances are connected in series. We know the fact that what remains same in case of series circuit is current. That is, current through Z1, current through Z2 and current through Z3 along with the battery is the same current. In this case, current is not getting divided, so there is no question of applying current division rule. But what we can clearly see that in series circuits, voltage gets divided as V1, V2 and V3. Therefore, in case of series circuit, we apply voltage division rule. In case of parallel circuits, since current gets divided, therefore we apply current division rule. On the contrary, in parallel circuits, voltage always remains same, and that is the reason why voltage division rule will not be applicable in case of parallel circuits. So now we will see how to deal with resistors, inductors and capacitor for voltage division rule. Let's say we have two resistors connected in series, let's say R1, R2, across which the voltage is there V1 and V2, assuming the source voltage as Vs, and by voltage division rule if you want to calculate V1, so V1 will be equal to total voltage Vs multiplied by R1 itself divided by R1 plus R2. Whereas if you want V2, it will be simply Vs into R2 upon R1 plus R2. Let's see what happens in case of inductors. Assume that it's a part of closed loop where across this there is voltage V1, across this there is voltage V2 and the supplied voltage is Vs. Assuming this is L1 in Henry, L2 in Henry. In that case, V1 will be supply voltage Vs multiplied by V1 is voltage across L1, so I would say it is L1 divided by L1 plus L2. Similarly, V2 will be equal to supply voltage Vs. Since V2 is voltage across L2, I would say L2 upon L1 plus L2. Let's see finally what happens in the case of capacitor. Because we know the fact that in case of capacitor, Z is inversely proportional to capacitor, whereas in case of resistors and inductor, Z is directly proportional to R, Z is directly proportional to L. So whatever happens with resistor, similar thing happens with inductor also. Let's see what happens when two capacitors are connected in series. Assume that two capacitors connected in series, let's say C1, C2 in farads, through which the current flowing I develops voltage V1 here and V2 here. Assuming this is a closed loop and the supply voltage is Vs, we can apply voltage division rule here in order to find V1 and V2. So V1 will be equal to supply voltage Vs. We know the fact that now V1 is the voltage across C1, but I'm not going to write C1 here. Instead of C1, I would say 1 upon C1 here, divided by 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. Similarly, if you want to calculate V2, it will be total voltage supplied Vs. Since V2 is voltage across capacitor 2, we don't write capacitor 2, we write 1 upon C. So, we write 1 upon C2 divided by 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. So, to start with parallel circuits, let us assume a current source Is across which Z1, Z2 and Z3 are connected in parallel. The supply current is Is, which gets divided in every branch as I1, I2 and I3, assuming voltage across this as V. Now I can write by using KCL. So Is can be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Now we know that the voltage across current source is V. So since voltage across parallel circuit remains same, the same voltage is applicable across Z1, Z2 and Z3. So voltage across source will be equal to voltage across Z1, which will be equal to voltage across Z2, equal to voltage across Z3, equal to V. So I can represent Is as V upon Z equivalent by Ohm's law, which will be V upon Z1 for I1, V upon Z2 for I2 and V upon Z3 for I3. Since we know the fact that voltage across parallel circuit remains same, this is throughout V, which we can cancel out from both the sides. So what we can write now, 1 upon Z equivalent as 1 upon Z1 plus 1 upon Z2 plus 1 upon Z3. Please remember, if these elements can be either R, L or C or combination of all. In case if it is R, we write 1 upon R equivalent as 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3, because Z is directly proportional to R, so you have to replace Z with R simply. For L, you can write 1 upon L equivalent as 1 upon L1 plus 1 upon L2 plus 1 upon L3. But when it comes to capacitor, you cannot write 1 upon C equivalent, because Z equivalent should be replaced with 1 upon C. So the final expression becomes 1 upon C, so that C comes up. In effect, I can write C equivalent as C1 plus C2 plus C3. So this is how you deal with RLC when it comes to a parallel circuit. We know that in parallel circuit, what remains same is voltage, but what gets divided is current. As we can see, there are three impedances connected in parallel having individual currents as I1, I2 and I3. So by using current division rule, we can calculate the values of I1, I2 and I3. So let us start with current division rule. So the supply current is, let's say, Is, which gets divided as I1 current and I2 current. So current division rule will help you to get the values of I1 and I2. So the value of I1 is calculated as supply current, that is IS. You have to observe now I1 is flowing through Z1. So ignoring that impedance, the remaining impedance is Z2. So you have to write Z2 divided by total impedance, which is Z1 plus Z2. Similarly, you can get I2 now. I2 will be equal to supply current, which is IS multiplied by, since I2 is flowing through Z2, we have to ignore Z2 and the remaining impedance we have to consider, which is Z1 in this case upon Z1 plus Z2. So now we will see what happens when this impedance element gets replaced by R, L and C. In case of resistors, now I1 can be written as total current IS into R1 upon R1 plus R2, assuming Z1 and Z2 are replaced with R1, R2, and we are calculating I1, I2. Similarly, so for R, suppose you want to calculate I1. Assume that now Z1 and Z2 are simply replaced with R1, R2. So I1 will be equal to IS multiplied by, instead of Z2, we will replace Z2 with R2 upon R1 plus R2. Whereas I2 can be written as IS into R1 upon R1 plus R2. For inductors, assuming Z1 and Z2 are replaced with L, so I can write I1 as IS multiplied by L2 upon L1 plus L2, whereas I2 can be written as IS multiplied by L1 upon L1 plus L2. Whereas for capacitor, we assume that Z1 and Z2 are replaced with C1, C2, current through C1 is I1, current through C2 is I2, and total current is IS. So by current division rule, I1 will be equal to IS multiplied by, we know that we write the impedance which is opposite to that impedance. For example, when I talk about I1, we don't consider Z1, we write rather Z2 here. But for Z2, we should replace Z2 with 1 upon C2 divided by 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. Whereas I2 will be equal to IS multiplied by 1 upon C1 divided by 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. So this is how we deal with capacitor. So I'm sure now you have understood how to apply current division rule in case of Z1, Z2, or Z are replaced with R, L or C. Let us now move to understand star to delta and delta to star conversion. First of all, we will start with delta to star. Please remember, the triangle that I have drawn over here is called as a delta connection. Assuming the value of this as Z1, Z2 and Z3. Let us assume that I have to convert it into a star connection. The star connection looks like a Y connection. So this is called as delta. This is called as respective star. In star, again we have got three impedances. Assuming them as ZA, ZB and ZC. We should write Z3 here. So we have Z1, Z2 and Z3 as delta, and we have to convert it into a star which is having elements as ZA, ZB and ZC. Let us understand how this conversion takes place. So for conversion purpose, what I am doing is, I am just trying to draw this star inside this delta. And naming them accordingly as ZA, ZB and ZC. So this is ZA, this is ZB and this is ZC. So the formula says whenever you want star value, it is always product of adjacent divided by summation of all delta elements. See, Z star means the delta is given and star is required. So what are the given values? The given values are Z1, Z2 and Z3, and what are required values is ZA, ZB and ZC. So with this we will have the values of ZA, ZB and ZC provided Z1, Z2 and Z3 values are known. So the formula says it is product of adjacent impedance. Product of adjacent impedance means when I have drawn this star inside this delta, for ZA, adjacent impedance can be taken as Z1, Z3. So according to the formula, ZA will be equal to Z1, Z3 divided by summation of all, which says Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. Similarly, for ZB, I can write as, if you observe ZB, which is situated here, adjacent to them is Z1 and Z2. So I can write as Z1, Z2 upon Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. So I can now say ZC. ZC is the impedance which is situated at this part. So for ZC, adjacent can be taken as Z2 and Z3. So I can write ZC as Z2, Z3 divided by Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. So this is how we convert delta to star network. Delta connection is a triangular network and a star connection is this network which looks like a Y network. So star is also called as a Y network. With this, now we can start with star to delta conversion. It means what is given in our case is star. So the star network will be a given network which we have to convert it into a delta network now. In this case, even though I have shown resistances, in general you can assume them as Z1, Z2 or Z3 and so on. So rather I will modify them to, let's say, Z1, Z2 and Z3, and assuming this as ZA, ZB and ZC. So what I need to do is I have to convert star to delta means Z1, Z2, Z3 values are given and ZA, ZB and ZC values are required. So what is the first step that I supposed to do is, so I'll try to draw delta with the given star. So I have actually taken this delta and I have superimposed that delta on this star network. That's the reason why the ZA appears here, ZC appears here, the value ZB appears here. So in our case, what is given to us is star and we have to convert it into delta. So in general, Z delta is given as sum of adjacent plus product of adjacent, the remaining impedance. Let us try to understand this. Please don't forget what is given to us is Z1, Z2 and Z3 and required are ZA, ZB and ZC. Following the formulas, we can now get ZA, ZB and ZC. So now value of ZA can be written as, let us refer the formula. ZA. Now according to Z delta, it says it is sum of adjacent. So the value of Z1 can be now written as, again by referring to the formula, it says sum of adjacent. For Z1, adjacent can be taken as ZA and ZB. So I can write ZA plus ZB plus product of adjacent, it means same, ZA, ZB divided by remaining impedance. See, remaining impedance means so far in the formula ZA and ZB are taken, only one impedance is left which is ZC, that can be treated as a remaining impedance divided by ZC. Similarly, I can write Z2 value. If you refer Z2, for Z2, ZA and ZC are adjacent impedance. So I can write ZA plus ZC plus product ZA, ZC divided by remaining. Now in this case, remaining is ZB. Whereas for Z3 also we can go for the similar formula. So for Z3, now we can go. Z3, ZB and ZC are adjacent impedance. So I can write ZB plus ZC plus ZB ZC divided by remaining is ZA. So this is how we convert star to delta and delta to star. For Z star, it is product of adjacent impedance divided by summation of all, whereas Z delta is sum of adjacent plus product of adjacent divided by remaining. I am sure now you are quite comfortable with star to delta and delta to star conversion, series connections, parallel connections. You know very well how to deal with resistors, inductors and capacitors. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned to eKida. Subscribe to eKida.